Hello everyone, very warm welcome from Aliaxis headquarters office here in Brussels. My name is Rafał Muz and I would like to take the next 10 minutes to talk to you about our BIM content and how it forms a strong foundation for our digital value proposition. So I'm going to jump into the slides and then we can open for a couple of questions.
I'd like to start today's session with a very quick overview of who we are. I hope to briefly explain the reasons behind the growing interest in BIM content by manufacturers. Then I will highlight some common frustrations related to externally created BIM libraries and present Aliaxis' approach towards avoiding or solving some of the key issues. In the end, I'll wrap up and share some of my final thoughts. Aliaxis Group is a global leader in manufacturing and distribution of pipes and fittings. I think that from the key figures presented on the slide, you can see the true scale of our operations. In Poland, we operate out of Oleśnica and offer products and systems for building, infrastructure and industry segments. Our portfolio consists of specialty solutions for drainage, for example, acoustic system Deep Blue, a siphonic roof drainage, such as Season, free-attack electrofusion fittings for gas and water networks, or industrial valves under FIB brand. I think that by now we are very much aware that the digital transformation has finally reached the historically rather fragmented and very traditional building industry. We have seen a transition from extremely labor-intensive manual design and engineering process into 2D CAD, then 3D CAD, eventually BIM. Nowadays, we even hear more and more about automated and data or algorithm-driven solutions. We believe that these new trends have opened amazing new opportunities for a much better collaboration and information sharing. As manufacturers, we of course want to strengthen our collaboration with investors, designers and builders. Customer satisfaction leads to a more successful business, and product-specific BIM content was promising to support that. For about 10 years or so, it has been marketed as almost a magic solution to be more specified and grow sales. Unfortunately, we know that sometimes good intentions are not enough, and over the last several years, I think we've witnessed a lot of good practices, but also many failed attempts. I think that too often BIM libraries, instead of being a value-adding service, have generated plenty of frustrations, and ultimately did really nothing to help tighten the bond between designers, contractors, and us, building product manufacturers. How often do we see overly complex geometry leading to explosion in the file size? Also, well, the I in BIM, so the information, is what really matters the most. People got a little bit carried away and populated BIM content with hundreds of attributes that no one really needs. It is very likely that most BIM libraries out there are actually a result of FOMO, so fear of missing out, instead of an informed decision based on true customer needs. Without sufficient expertise, producers were not able to really check the quality and functionality. As a result, internet is nowadays filled with impractical, restrictive, and error-generating Revit families floating around. Once completed, most of the manufacturer BIM content is then shared via commercial third-party platforms. The idea behind these websites is actually very good to create a one-stop shop for many designers to find anything they need for a project. However, recently it has become very difficult to find the right information, and often multiple files need to be first downloaded and then compiled into a system. Additionally, aren't designers really tired of aggressive marketing and constantly being added to newsletters, event invites, etc.? Final frustration results from the fact that the vast majority of manufacturer BIM content is actually quite old. Upgrading from an older version might not be that big of an issue, but it doesn't always work well. Also, idea behind product-specific BIM content was to actually make projects more realistic and support selection of elements that can be actually purchased and installed in a given market. Now, without proper content management, many of such libraries have not been revised in a while, and now they are not in line with the portfolio updates and contain a lot of misleading information. I must honestly admit that at Aliaxis Groups, unfortunately, we made similar mistakes and possibly contributed to the bad reputation that manufacturer BIM content has nowadays. However, as mentioned before, we do have a very healthy obsession with our customers and their needs. We also have a strong top management support for all of our BIM initiatives, and that has recently given us an opportunity for a fresh start. So our motivation now is to actually get things done right, and we focus on the main 4 BIM components: people, process, policy, and technology. Earlier this year, we developed our own internal BIM content standard. Of course, we might ask, is there not enough BIM standards out there, or why do we need to create another one? Well, truth be told, there are really good similar documents out there. However, we had the opportunity to look specifically at our product portfolio, which is pipes and fittings, and have a chance to go into the details that such different international and national standards cannot really support. So we've used expertise of industry experts in both MEP design and Revit family creation. Then we consulted all of the various aspects with our own engineers around the world, which I call our BIM champions, and they have been working with BIM tools for several years by now. Then, of course, we've taken technology limitations into consideration, but besides the technical details, we wanted to clearly outline various processes and especially put focus on the quality testing. Our approach is to avoid overcomplicating things. Simplicity doesn't have to mean compromising on either quality or functionality. In fact, the opposite is most of the time true. So our libraries are an up-to-date reflection of the portfolio, and all elements have a reasonable geometrical and information level of development. It was very important to us that our fittings and accessories within Revit environment work well with generic and system families. For the improved functionality and modeling speed, we've decided to allow custom element creation, but it is relatively easy to identify them within the project environment later on. We know that the true demand is for objects that don't exist in generic databases of software such as Revit. Therefore, we pay extra attention to such products and hope to save time and effort for the designers and engineers who otherwise would need to be creating them from scratch. Also, instead of Revit families that have to come with a 20-page manual on how to use them or what are their hidden features and functionalities, we try to find a compromise between too simple and over-engineered. Therefore, our libraries for pipes and fittings come only with few special assembly type families that are only created to overcome Revit's own limitations. For example, we all know that connecting one fitting to another fitting is not a very straightforward process. So we've created families that are a combination of 2 elbows 45, or we have a branch with an attached elbow that can be used instead of a T. Creating own standard, developing and redeveloping BIM content would be a waste of time if we didn't properly manage it. Therefore, recently we implemented a bespoke solution that allows us to keep our files always up to date and easily generate region, country, language, or even customer-specific versions of our files. Content is then distributed via our online library that is integrated directly into our commercial websites, and it acts as a single source of all information for customers. We facilitate download of individual files if someone is only interested in, for example, a specific valve or a specific fitting. But then we also publish entire template files where pipe segments and routing preferences are defined, so someone can use it directly in their project. Here you can see my company's BIM maturity ladder. I would like to really point out that we consider BIM content only as a building block for a differentiated value proposition later on. Structured data, good quality libraries, their proper management, distribution, they all form a solid foundations for tools and services we develop and offer to customers. I'd like to end with a quick summary. Aliaxis understands that BIM libraries are not the right indicator of being BIM ready. We also know that in recent years there has been a strong hesitance towards using manufactured content due to poor quality. However, we'd like to take on the challenge of proving that if done correctly, they can be valuable asset and save time. Aliaxis is also very eager to collaborate with all BIM curious and BIM mature clients. Of course, like everyone, we like hearing nice things, but honest feedback, even if it takes form of the harshest criticism, is the only way we can improve our offering. Today's session was focused on BIM content. But I want to indicate once again that Aliaxis is launching innovative tools and services for designers and contractors that will be a true differentiator in the market. So if you'd like to hear more, please get in touch. And now I'd like to open up the session for a couple of questions.
Dziękuję bardzo, panie Rafał.
Thank you, Rafał.